Yo, what's good, everybody? Brent here. Hope everybody's having a fucking great Tuesday. I know I am. Bitcoin popping up out of this 3-day consolidation. We're going to talk about why there's a very high likelihood that the bottom is either in here at 107 or very close, and what that means for our meme and alt bags. I mean, there's a lot of people who are kind of convinced that it's just going to be a Bitcoin and ETH cycle only. And I'll tell you why I think that's going to change here soon, and why I think we're finally going to get a tipping point for ETH. I'm sorry, for ETH as well, but memes, alts, especially the movement memes that have been around for a bit here. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about why I believe creator coins could be the next meta that not only spark a lot of, hype and volume on crypto Twitter, but could actually attract a lot of big creators from outside of crypto Twitter, a lot of adoption from there. We'll talk about Trump. We'll talk about World Liberty Fi and a lot of other stuff. Also, a USDC giveaway at the end of the stream as well for picked randomly from the comments of the stream. Appreciate everybody being here today. Again, it is 11:30 a.m. here for me. Always love fucking doing these streams here in the morning. We've been doing the streams again at like 10, 11 a.m., kind of trying to find a time that works. So gonna do from now on 11 a.m. PST, Tuesdays and Fridays. One-stop shop for everything I'm doing in crypto, but just talking about everything that's going on in the markets, NFTs, crypto. Kind of my vision for the next few months and all that good stuff. Gonna have a lot of cool guests on. We've had some people on the last few weeks, and as the market heats up, I want to highlight a lot of great stories and stuff as well. We're gonna try something new today. Usually, we always love to make these streams super interactive. Love to take questions from the chat, hear it from everybody else's perspectives and what everybody else is doing. But I actually today want to try to do it a little bit differently and possibly have somebody come up and ask a question live, over voice, if they choose to do that. We'll do that here in a bit. But yeah, if you guys could before we get started, retweet, comment, bookmark the stream. That's always appreciated. And before we get started, I want to know what's everybody else up to. How you guys feeling? You guys think that this is the bottom, or are you in the camp that you think it's over? Let me know. What's up, Ruben? Nice to see you. What's up, Soul? Shout out to Soul. Soul Man. What's up, Aomi? Mose. What's up, Mr. Bullish? What's up, Wonka? What's good, Meta Degen? What's up, Aomi? Again, what's up, everybody? Hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing well, brother. Again, it's always a different vibe during these times, right? Like in a lot of even the most active chats that I'm in right now, it's pretty dead. A lot of people are pretty grim and kind of doom and gloom on the trenches side and the low cap stuff. Understandably, it's been pretty quiet lately, but I'm just really excited for what's to come because I've seen since 2022 what happens to memes and alts and just the industry or kind of everything in general when Bitcoin comes out of these corrections. And as we're going to go over here in a second, I think we're close to that. And with that, I think there's going to be a resurgence in not only a lot of these movement memes that I'm super bullish on, but just the trenches in general. I think a lot of the low cap stuff, pump fun, all that is gonna have a big resurgence. So, what's up, Rojan? Confident that September will be a green month. Yeah, I am too. I am too. Aloha, Bren. Need some good news, brother. Damn, you from Hawaii? Um, but no, good news. I do think there's some really good news ahead. Actually, I think a lot of before we get started with Bitcoin, I think right now a lot of people are as far as like any memes in general, they're kind of trying to find different reasons to attribute to why the trenches aren't doing well, why pump fund volumes low on the or at least on the sorry the launch pads. And I think it just comes down to conditions. When Bitcoin is in these corrections, everything else just comes down hard. But just like we saw in 2024, when Bitcoin corrected hard, the memes and alts came down 50 to 90%. And when Bitcoin came out of it, the great memes went to all time highs. Same thing in 2023 as well. And I think we're going to see the same thing again at the end of 2025. We just got to be, who knows? Memes could lead here, but I think Bitcoin's about to pop out of this corrective channel. But yeah, Bitcoin, let's dive into it. Where we're at right now. Last time we were on stream, I told you guys again, this correction looking back is going to look very similar to how the June correction looks. June correction, we came down from 112 down to 101, popped back, retested the all-time high, made one final low, and then went to all-time highs. Exactly, kind of same kind of thing that's happening here. We went back, retested the all-time high, forming one final low, and I think very likely with how everything's lining up, seasonality-wise, how everything else looks, we very likely have either seen the bottom at 107K with this consolidation or potentially one, maybe two more lows in the smaller corrective channel. But with this larger correction since July 14th is telling me, in combination with this move since August 13th, which is very choppy and corrective in nature, which again, corrective in nature, what that tells me in simple terms is that sell pressure is still dominant, but is drying up. And eventually, buy pressure is going to take over. What I like to think of these corrections as, these corrective channels, are kind of coil ups, where price is coming down, but in a choppy kind of coil type of manner. And eventually, once this correction finishes up, usually after 2 to 4 lows, which we see this one had 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 3, uh, almost always heads back to the upside after that and creates the next impulse to the upside. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen here. The reason why I think there could be a good shot that the bottom's already in is because of this consolidation for 3 or 4 days here. But whether it takes another week, 2 weeks, 2 days, I think we're coming to the very end stages of this corrective uh, period for Bitcoin, and pretty soon we're going to head back to the upside. I think, obviously the last few months has been pretty, annoying in a sense that we've moved up for only a few weeks, big correction, move up, big correction. I think what's likely to happen this time is more of a momentum that carries on for a few months or even longer this time. But yeah, these corrections are very healthy. It allows for prices not to get too euphoric and overheated. And yeah, I'm very bullish for the next few months. And I think we're going to get a big resurgence in not only the majors, but this time very likely the alts and memes. So ETH, same kind of thing, very coiled as well. Probably even an even cleaner setup, just like we got here with these corrective coil ups, where price is essentially coming down, but in a choppy manner, in these kind of corrective channels like structures before they impulse back to the upside. I think that's what we're seeing again here for ETH. and it could come a little bit lower, but essentially the most of the downside I think is done here, and we're way closer to the bottom than we are the top. So XRP, same kind of thing. I have a long position that I was started back down here back in June, and now I've taken some profit on that and been adding to it. I think this is another obvious coil up here on XRP. And XRP is one of the few coins that has like a kind of a hybrid narrative of both like a really strong institutional narrative and then just like obviously just the nastiest like normie cult. That's just to this day is just one of the strongest communities and cults out there. So yeah, I think XRP is set up to very likely go above $10. I think um, over the next few years. But I mean, the majors again, I think are just setting up for more upside. Sol, same kind of thing. Another obvious corrective coil up. No consolidation up top. Nice choppy behavior. Some consolidation over the last 3 or 4 days. I think as Bitcoin and ETH head up, we're going to see Sol head up too. And again, this time, I don't think the memes and alts are just going to sit there. I think the great memes and alts over the next couple weeks on this next Bitcoin and ETH run are very likely going to play some catch up as well. So that's what I've been focusing on is getting these DCAs in these great movement alts or movement memes, a lot of the alts, AI, some few gaming things, because I think a lot of us or pretty much everyone is going to wish they would have accumulated more during this period where there's like 50 to 90% discounts like everywhere. So let's see. I want to check out on the chat real quick. You lost money today, Ayanella? In what? Um, Uncharted Theory says people are expecting the 15th for the FOMC. I think we start climbing around the 5th after unemployment numbers. Yeah. I think these unemployment numbers in the FOMC and all that is less about the result and more so about what people are expecting. If the result ends up being drastically different than the expectations, that's usually where you'll see a big move off of it. Nice. Shout out to you, GM brother. Do you know about use pools? Can you buy a piece of an NFT? No, I don't know too much about use pools. I assume that's a way you can buy fractional NFTs. Let's see. Um, yeah, no, haven't looked at use pools. We can look at that a little bit later. Hey, Brand, what's up? Slow market. Fartcoin is at a discount, so I bought some. Yeah, Fartcoin looks nice here. That's one of the ones that I think are at a crazy discount with attention super low. Someone asked about Sui. Sui, same kind of thing, bro. What's this RWA token people are talking about on November 22nd? Don't know. Also, how do you see NFTs moving in your timeline? I think NFTs generally could take off at any time. Usually, these markets move in with some type of bigger catalyst that kind of pops things off. But I think NFTs are just primed to have a nice bull run as well. At least in the projects kind of stuck around. So generally, I think 2025 and 2026 will be a good time for both NFTs, great NFTs and memes. Yeah, what's good? What's good, Hayes? Yeah, Fartcoin's looking good. Do you have Dino coins? Yeah, I have positions that I've been accumulating over time and stuff like Sui and stuff like that. AVAX is a big one that I guess you could probably call a Dino coin that I'm really bullish on. I think we're going to see a lot of these chains that have a lot of institutional adoption and stuff being built on them start to get a bid for the first time in years. So I kind of like AVAX here. What will happen to World Liberty Fi? Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about World Liberty Fi here in a second. Alonz, you talked about Troll. We'll go ahead and talk about that in a second. I do think Troll is kind of pulled away as one of the dominant memes that kind of has the combination of great community and then also a meme that people recognize. But World Liberty Fi, let's go ahead and look at that. Go ahead and let me know if any of you guys long. Did you guys do anything with World Liberty Fi? Did you long it? Did you stay away from it? Did you short it? But World Liberty Fi launched at least right here. It launched at around, what was this? Around where it's at now, probably around 22 billion. Oh, okay. World Liberty Fi launched at around 22 billion, kind of around maybe 25 billion. Uh, Went all the way to what, like 30, 35 out the gate, and then dumped out. I mean, it launched into shitty market conditions, right? With a pre-sale, and went all the way to 50 billion. Um, Obviously, I when I saw that it was at a that high of a market cap, I automatically just stay away. Obviously, is there a chance that it kept going up because of all the hype? Of course, it could have done another 2x, could have gone to 100 billion, but the risk to reward at that point, with the most important thing being that the market conditions are shitty, right? That's usually what determines whether like a hyped launch or pre-sale or any of these things does well out of the gate, is how market conditions are at during during that time. And as we can see here, Bitcoin is still in its correction. Meme coin conditions are still lackluster, right? So I think when you combine that with the market cap, it's just the chance that this outcome was going to happen was just astronomical, right? So I completely stayed away. I do think that there's a world here where World Liberty Fi may be attractive, at least for me to accumulate. Again, it just comes down to the team and their ability to um, the team and their abilities to create attention and drive attention, create partnerships, all this different shit that creates attention and gets people to buy coins. I definitely wouldn't count them out. For me, I'm gonna keep my eye on it, but at a market cap of FDV of 22 billion, it's just, I think there's so many other things out there that are more attractive at this market cap. But with that being said, as we've seen with Pengu, a lot of these other really hype launches, after they see these big dump outs, a lot of the times you get very attractive opportunities when people aren't paying attention, and attention and hype is kind of low. So, you know, I'm not surprised we got this outcome, but when there may be a world where this thing dumps out another 50, 75%, or dumps out 25% and consolidates for a bit, where it may be attractive for at least a short-term buy, but I'm not seeing that right now. It's one I'm going to keep an eye on, but you know, not very attractive to me at 22 billion market cap personally. I want to talk about Pump Fun real quick. Pump Fun, and then Pump Token. First, let's go ahead and look at the comments. Shout out to you, Bread and Beans, for sharing. Always good to hear your insight. Always good to hear from you guys. Bren, the best analyzer in CT. Appreciate you. I keep telling myself I need to get back into futures trading, but I know I'll get cooked. Yeah, futures are tough, man. I think if you really love charts and you really love leverage trading, definitely dabble in it and get try your hand at it and learn and all that. But I think right now in the spot market for movement meme coins, a lot of these alts, there's just so many great 50 to 90% discounts that just on spot coins, that I don't think you need to overcomplicate it and try to hit a home run with futures. For me, my suggestion to anybody is, if you're not like super experienced doing this shit for 2 or 3 years, make the futures part of your portfolio, like the perp part of your portfolio, like 5 to 10%. Use that to learn. Give yourself a few years to get proficient, and then make sure the rest of your portfolio is in stuff that has a very high probability of going up. Fitz, what's good? Fitz, what's good? Sizzle. Shout out to all you guys. But let's go ahead and talk about Pump.fun. Today, Pump came out with a new fee structure. Let's see where to go. They came up with a new fee structure that essentially makes it more incentivized for people to create coins and not dump on everybody. It essentially creates a better fee structure for makes it creates a better fee structure for creators and streamers on there, which incentivizes people to build like actual longer term coins versus dumping on their community, and it incentivizes higher quality deployers, or higher quality people to actually come in and deploy on Pump Fund. So since the beginning of the pump token launch, there was a lot of uncertainty on the first day of launch, right? Everybody was kind of like, they the team wasn't communicating. Everybody was kind of thought it was like a cash grab or whatever. But for me, watching interviews from Alon and just reading everything that they had going on with them raising a bunch of money, kind of different things that they talked about they were planning on doing. I mean, Pump was just a no-brainer for me. Obviously, it had, just like we were talking about with World Liberty Fi, after these dump outs, it needs to consolidate sometimes for a few weeks. And that's exactly what we got here. In this time, we've seen Alon and Pump Fund come out and support all these great Pump Fund coins like FWOG, a lot of these Fartcoin, Son, I think, a lot of these great coins. They have these buybacks going. All of these things will matter in a big way as conditions for meme coins and alts start to heat up here. So I'm just incredibly fucking bullish on Pump. I've been accumulating for the last few weeks here, and just like I said back here when it was coming down, my view has not changed. I think there's a very high likelihood that in good market conditions in Q4 in 2026, that we see pump token at a 10 billion plus market cap. I think it just checks a lot of boxes. They, again, the team's ability, and obviously now they've shown their willingness to support the community, do buybacks, do a lot of stuff that simply creates a lot of attention around Pump Token. And what that's going to do, I think, is going to, all of those in one with good conditions, is going to equate to a 10 billion, 5 to 10 billion plus Pump Token in 2026. So that's kind of my base case. Been accumulating down here. I think, a little bit up here, but again, my targets are way higher, around 10 billion. At that point, I'll take some profits off, but uh, I think because of it's an infrastructure play, because of their ability to create attention, I think it goes potentially higher than 10 billion, but we'll have to see. What do you think about Troll? We'll look at that. 103K Bitcoin, potentially. Can gold flip Ethereum? Oh, that's a good question. What's the gold market cap right now? Might long World Liberty Fi soon. Yeah, I think World Liberty Fi, again, if it got some consolidation for a few weeks, or at least like a week, like we're seeing here with Pump, I would potentially look at accumulating some. But without that, I'm not really too keen on that. It ain't over, bro. Not even close. Exactly, Hawk. Good to see you, brother. Yeah, I think we're just getting started, guys. Again, when I say just getting started, obviously the cycle happened 2.5 years ago, right? I'm saying it's just like the figure of speech that people say, like, we're just getting started, the momentum's just going to pick up, like we haven't seen anything yet, type of thing. And I truly believe that. I don't think this cycle ends. I don't think this cycle ends for Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. I don't think we get like a major blow off top, 80% downside until we get some type of mania. I still think we're going to get, for the first time in a couple years, a retail normie mania where, just like we saw in the beginning or at the end of 2024, where the chill guy meta started happening. A lot of people on TikTok started talking about crypto again. In our Telegram group, Boss Man Calls, we had a large uptick in people coming and subscribing. But obviously, the Trump coin and Bitcoin topping out here in January kind of put an end to that temporarily. But I think what's next is we start to see that, but it get way more heated up. And in the first time since like 2021, we start to see the general public start to talk about crypto a lot more. And there's a lot of big debate about that. A lot of people pushing back against that. Oh, we don't need the normies. Why would you want normies to come? And I simply say to that is, yes, we don't need normies to come, or retail normies, people from the public to come for coins to go up. But I think it's just going to happen anyway, because of how human nature is, how people are going to want to speculate. People see their friends making money in crypto. Eventually, it sparks a mania. And there's been a few things that have happened, FTX, a lot of stuff that's kind of, I think, hindered that in the short term. But I think if there's been enough time that's happened, we have a lot of regulatory clarity, a lot of positive, sentiment around crypto and TradFi, that I think what we're going to get is a retail normie mania next year. And again, if it doesn't happen, I think coins are still going to go up. It's just going to be more of a slow grind up, um, instead of what I think happens every cycle. This time it's going to happen a little bit later, but I think we're going to get that kind of mania. Whether it's as strong as 2021 or 2017, who knows? I think it has the potential to be even stronger because of how the acceptance of crypto and how people nowadays may actually be investing in it because of the regulatory clarity that wasn't there back in 2021. But either way, I think we're going to get a strong period. It's going to ignite a period where the general public is going to talk about crypto again. And at that point, I think we see massive 10, 20x, 30x runs in memes and alts. And at that point, I think there's a serious case to be made that we may get a bigger bear market. But every single um, past indicator of a top, like the real ones, the legit ones, I'm talking about the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index, the Coinbase app, how many people are using the Coinbase app on the App Store, sentiment on crypto Twitter is always super, super bullish at the top. None of these things are overheated in the slightest. And for that reason, I think not only do we have a big run up here for Bitcoin, but I think it extends and goes a lot stronger than a lot than most people are expecting. So, what's up, Miss D? How you doing? What are your thoughts on treasury companies like SBET? So that's a great question, Mr. Cockroach. So I've been watching a lot of interviews, um, the last few weeks on Bankless, on a lot of these other platforms, with people talking about the treasury companies. I've seen interviews with Tom Lee, with Joseph Lubin, and from my understanding, is I think just like MicroStrategy, where you know run correctly and by good operators, the Bitcoin strategy did really well. I think we're going to see the ones that, from my understanding, the ones that don't over leverage and raise money in a certain way. Um, I don't see companies like SBET. I'm sure there's going to be wild swings, but I don't see a huge systemic risk from the companies that do it right, like SBET. With that being said, a lot of people think that SBET and a lot of these treasury companies is kind of like a sign of like the beginning of the end, kind of like an early sign of stuff getting overheated and euphoric. And I think it's a good case to be made that it could get a bit crazy if people start leveraging up these companies and they start buying meme coins and all these other stuff with it. I think it will get crazy, but generally I think coins with good operators like SBET and what's it called, Bitmine, right? Bitmine, um, the one Tom Lee, I think those ones that are doing the right way will probably stand the test of time. But with that being said, I think in 6 months from now, it could get overheated and we could see some companies doing some pretty exotic and risky things. And at that point, I think it could be a good sign that, you to take some good amount of profits. But generally, the way I'm treating this, guys, is like I said, as you can see, I'm very adamant that I think we're going to get a big move up for just not only Bitcoin, but for alts. And the way I'm playing it is I kind of see it as there's a good possibility that the 4-year cycle is over. And even if we get a big run up and a bigger bear market top, I don't think it comes at the end of Q4. I think that's kind of the general consensus right now. I think that's kind of ridiculous looking at anything's possible, but I think that's very unlikely with looking where Bitcoin's at, so coiled up and ready to go. What I think is more likely to happen is Bitcoin's going to come out strong into 2026, and then we just have to see how strong this and euphoric these moves up. If Bitcoin moves to 200K in the next 6 months, alts and memes are up 10, 20, 30x in the next 8 weeks. We see Doge above $1. We see the trenches just roaring again. Everybody's talking about crypto. At that point, you know there's a good chance that we get a traditional blow off top bigger bear market. But I think the best way, and I'm so big on this, the best way to defend against that, and not so you don't have to worry what part of the cycle you're in, is you have to have a profit taking strategy set up. I think everybody, or a lot of people, are good at finding a good play, a nice 10, 20, 30x, but very few people know how to take profits. So, there's a good video in the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel titled ABTPP, which goes over my profit taking strategy. A nice 20-minute video where you can check out if you haven't already. But essentially, if you're here right now, you have your buys in, you're really excited about this next phase of the bull market. What I would do right now is make sure you have a profit taking strategy set up, where it takes the emotions, the greed out of it. You don't have to worry about what part of the cycle you're in. And the way I do that, at least, is I set up milestones where, I'm more of a swing trader. I'm targeting higher X's, 5 to 10X gains a lot of times. So the way I do it is I set up milestones that I take profit at on every coin, doesn't matter the situation, to whereas, for example, if a coin goes up 3 to 5X, what I'm doing is taking off 10 to 25% of my original position, putting that back in ETH, Bitcoin, Sol stables. What that does is lock in gains, right? I'm risk free. Don't have a worry in the world, because if this coin goes to zero from here, I'm straight. I already locked in gains, but also at the same time allows us to hold a position in that coin in case it's the next fucking 100x. It's the best of both worlds. Most people either sell everything too early. They were in at 20K. They get out at 100 and that shit rips to 10 mil, 20 mil, or they round trip their gains to zero. This profit taking strategy, where you set certain milestones to get risk free as quick as possible and then hold a position in that coin in case it keeps going up, it allows us to compound, get risk free, give us peace of mind, and it's just a better quality of life that I've found. And then the biggest part is you don't have to worry about, what part of the cycle you're in if you already have a profit taking strategy regardless. So that's how I'm playing it. I'm going to be taking profits, partial profits on the way up regardless. And holding longer term positions in coins that I think have a longer term potential to stick around for a longer time. But I think that way you can't lose. You lock in gains, you compound your ETH, Bitcoin, Sol stable bags, and still have a position in the coin in case it keeps going. So let me know in the chat. Do you guys have a profit taking strategy? What do you do as far as taking profits and everything? I think it's just you have to have a profit taking strategy, or else you're literally at the whim of the casino. It's essentially that's it. It's like pretty much that's what makes it like gambling, is that if you go into it and you're just going off of what your fucking your gut's telling you, you're always just gonna get rinsed, because your human emotions and our human greed that we all have is always just gonna tell us to fucking roll the dice again, to just hold it. What are your thoughts about low market caps? That's a great question. So generally, I think there's so many different ways to make it in crypto, and I know there's so many guys in the pump fund, the low cap game, who use bots and who are trading 100 market cap coins, even lower, who do really well. I have friends who do really well in that world. And dude, I think that's great. And I think, again, there's many ways to make it in crypto. And I think there's a lot of great guys who do well in that realm. Generally the way I see it is it's usually pretty top heavy with in that game, right? Usually, again, from what I've seen, I'm not somebody who's in this world. I personally don't trade 100K market cap coins. I'm not looking at new launches every day, but just somebody who's been in the game, observing, who has friends in this world. It's generally pretty top heavy. There's people at the top who, meaning the top traders, performers, who do very well. And then most people, I feel like, get rinsed and have the kind of the results as the average gambler, right? And I think it's because that unless you're very precise, very good, or have some type of social capital, it's very easily to get rinsed. Whereas a casino, you might have 50% odds, 48% odds, whatever it is. I think a lot of these newer launches, you have 10, 20, 30% odds, unless you're very precise or whatever. So if you're coming into the market, you're in your first few years, I always advise people, again, and this is my perspective, I always advise people to take 80% of your portfolio and put it into Bitcoin ETH, like have it in the investor bucket, Bitcoin ETH Sol stables, and coins that have been around for a bit, like the movement memes, the MOG, Giga SPX stuff in that bucket, or even um, altcoins that have been around for a bit. Have most of your portfolio in the stuff that has a very high likelihood of going up on this next leg, and then use a smaller part of your portfolio, maybe 25% or less, on the perps and the pump fund stuff and the low cap stuff, to where if that's your game, you love doing that shit, then you give yourself a shot to turn that 25% of your portfolio into a way higher percentage. And maybe you're one of those guys that makes millions of dollars, like the Cup Cs and all those guys. But if it doesn't happen right away, or if it doesn't happen at all, you still have a good amount of your port in shit that has a very good chance at doing well. That's how I do it. I think, that's how I always advise people to do it. I think right now there's just such fucking no brainer buys in a lot of these coins that have just already have great time in the game, who already are quote unquote established, that you don't need to play the pump fund lottery in that sense. But if that's your game and you love doing it, like, you know, keep at it. Just I wouldn't put all your eggs in that basket per se. Like I started in forex trading with high leverage forex trading. So like that's kind of how I, in a sense, definitely wasn't pump fund stuff, but I started with more higher leverage stuff as well. So I get it. It's definitely enticing. I would just say don't put all your eggs in that basket. Um, it's just a definitely, you have to be very, very good at it to be consistent. Whereas I feel like a lot of people who you could come into it, take $10,000, spread that amongst 10 great coins right now. And if you're just patient and you're willing to wait a bit, I think there's a great likelihood that you 10x your account by just simply buying a holding and taking profits on the way up. But let's go ahead and do a quick little reset. I've been on a fucking crazy rant for the last 25 minutes. Hope you not fucking you guys aren't falling asleep here, but no, I'm just playing. But in the chat, let me know what you guys have been trading. Like I want to know, have you been World Liberty Fi? Have you been in the trenches? From what I understand, like there's been very little runners the last few days. Um, but what have you been doing? What's your sense on everything? Brent, can you look at finance on Sol? Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and look at finance here in a second. Let me go ahead and get some water really quickly here. If you guys, while I'm doing this, 914 people in here so far. I don't know why Twitter doesn't have reoccurring viewers or concurrent viewers, but shout out to everybody who's in here. Love you guys. Happy Tuesday. I think Bitcoin, as we were talking about here earlier, I think is setting up with the bottom either in or very close, which I think is going to ignite another period another strong period for memes, alts, everything else. I think we're on the brink of that happening. If you guys could like, retweet, comment, bookmark, shoot me a follow. I'm gonna go get some water really quick. I'll be right back. Hold on. Okay, great. Let me catch up with some questions really quick, and then I want to talk about creator coins and why I think that may be one of the strongest, not only metas, but a huge onboarder of potential normies and just creators into crypto and the Web3 universe. Real quickly though, what year do you think Bitcoin will hit 500K? That's tough. Another great question. Um, what year do I think Bitcoin will hit 500K? I remember back in 2021, everybody was convinced that Bitcoin was going to not only smash 100K, but go on to 200, 300. People even were throwing out 500K back in 2021. And it took another, let's see, December of 24. It took another 3 years before that ended up happening. So it's so tough with the timing and to put years on these things. 500K, there's a strong possibility and a strong case to be made that we're just entering just an insane super cycle where even though there's going to be blow off tops on the memes and alts, that Bitcoin, ETH, Sol just kind of keep grinding up and just shoot up over the next 3 to 5 years. And then, 500K happens in a year, 2 years. Um, or there's the possibility that Bitcoin just keeps grinding up slowly or has bear markets in between. So I think generally, man, by the end of the decade, I think we probably see Bitcoin between 500K to $1 million. That could happen in a year's time if we get a 2017, 2020 type bull market, or maybe we get the slow grind up like we've been seeing since 22 and it doesn't happen until 2030. I think either way, it's just having a bullish outlook and just not caring too much about timing because the timing part of all of this type of thing is just the least predictable and the least important. Obviously, if you're trading options and all of that, you want to have an edge on that. But I think generally, just giving these things time to breathe. ETH is another example of this. I remember a lot of people thought ETH was going to go to 10K back in 2021. And as you can see here, it took more than 4 years for ETH just to get back to 4K. So who knows? ETH could shoot up to 20K next year, or it could take another 2 or 3 years. It's really impossible to tell. I think generally, though, I'm just extremely bullish on Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. A lot of these great crypto coins. One of these like these majors over like a 3 to 5 year period. Man, I've been here for so long, like it's for like 8 or 9 years. Again, I just remember even back then, people have these crazy high targets, and you just don't know whether it's going to take a year to play out or 5 years. It's just Staker is about to be an all-time high. Yeah, Staker. Okay, so I want to go ahead and get into right now. I think there's a sect of coins right now that have kind of propping up that I think are going to present a lot of great opportunity in the under 50 million market cap range that have potential to do stuff like USDUC type of move where it's kind of in these first major correction. Maybe attention is a little bit low right now overall, but has a chance to really hit those 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 million mark. There's a few coins that I've been keeping an eye on. Again, USDUC was one that early on in the Telegram channel and then in these streams at around 7 million down here was very, yeah, USDC called it in the Telegram channel on this and in these streams back around here at around, what was this, 0.007. Since then, it's 10x'd. What USDUC, coins like USDUC, for example, has is similar characteristics to stuff like SPX, Giga, Mog, but at a lower market cap. That stuff that I saw down here, where example, Gainsey actually kind of put this really eloquently yesterday in his stream. The way that you know that there's real bag workers is they're not only just rating your tweets, which I love when, getting the raids on the tweets. It really shows me the strength of communities. But not only bag working is not only people rating tweets, but in these great coins with great movements, you'll see people in your like DMs trying to shill you on it. Like USDUC, I remember down here, there was guys, telling me you have to buy this, whatever. And I get a lot of DMs about it. Kept my eye on it, but it wasn't until around here, or actually right around here, about 6 weeks ago, where I really took a bigger position. To me, USDUC has a lot of characteristics like these other coins. With the biggest thing is there's a high mimetic ceiling. There's a bigger really high goal where even if people think it's fucking batshit crazy, like the flipping the S&P 500, but it just has this higher mimetic ceiling where there's always something bigger to reach for other than just market cap ranges, right? It's like for USDUC, it might sound fucking crazy, but their biggest thing is they're trying to flip Circle and market cap, which is like 40 billion, right? So even if they get fucking tenth of the way there, it just creates this bigger mimetic ceiling, like these bigger movements behind it. And USDUC had it and still has it. I think this one is one of the biggest sleepers for a potential, if things get crazy, a potential 500 million to a billion market cap. Obviously, at this point, if once it goes to 10 cents, I will be taking 25% off because that will be a 10x for me. Um, but with that being said, I think because of this mimetic ceiling, into good conditions, has a diehard community of, you know, like a really diehard community of people who have these bigger, higher targets. I think USDUC goes higher. But the reason why I'm saying this is I think there's a sect of other coins that have similar characteristics like this that I have been buying and I want to share with you guys as well. All of these coins, by the way, I bought organically, just coins that a lot of people have. The way I find these coins a lot of times is through these streams, through these raids, people in my DMs. Um, and when I see a strong community with a nice corrective chart pattern, stuff like that, that lines up, I like to buy these coins really during their first corrections. Actually, I made this this tweet the other day. I want you to let me know what you guys think of this and if you agree. But really, for me, my style is a bit different. A lot of people like to be very early within a few days of the coins. For me, I'm rarely early. If you guys notice, um, when I see a great meme or all, like I pay attention, but I don't FOMO when it's up 5, 10, 15x because I know 9 out of 10 times it's going to have a corrective cool off period where even though it's an extremely strong coin, the core community is still super fucking active and rating and doing all that stuff. The coin usually makes a 50 to 75% correction. Attention goes a lot of the 50 to 50% plus of the community's attention goes to the next shiny thing temporarily, and it usually gives me an opportunity to accumulate for days or weeks before the next second, usually second or the next run up. um Consistently been able to do this with stuff like SPX, which I've been holding SPX for a while. But as you can see here, SPX gave us an amazing opportunity to accumulate back here from January to March. During this time, the SPX community wasn't faltering. It was actually getting stronger. There's a lot of people who were making videos on TikTok, but price was down. What was this? It went all the way down to almost like 80%. This is where I really went heavy, accumulated, like almost like like hundred something $1,000 worth more of SPX, with probably an average of like 50 cents. Um, and got a really great opportunity to accumulate just an obvious coin at a 70 or 80% discount. And every single great coin that's lasted more than 6 months has done one of these big corrections, right? So really my style of things and where I've seen real success in is doing this method where pay attention to great coins, but I like to wait until it gives us these nice corrections, and then really start to go hard, accumulate nice positions that way. Not only does that really give 5-10x gains where I'm able to take profits on the way up, but it actually decreases your risks, right? When you're trying to be early on every 1 million coin, you're losing six or seven out of 10 of those stuff, or 6 to 7 of those plays. You're really increasing your risk doing this. Yes, it takes patience. Yes, it maybe not be as exciting in the short term, but it consistently has allowed me to catch 5, 10x, 15x gains um, on great coins. Because again, SPX, when it corrected from $1.50 down to 40 cents, was still as great of a coin. There was still just as many people bag working, if not more. We just got a temporary attention shift and market correction. I love opportunities like this. You know, if you find yourself getting kind of rinsed in the trenches over and over again, you know, especially during these times, I'm not saying don't I'm not saying quit the trenches, but start doing this again. Start paying attention to good coins, but waiting until it gives you nice corrections to really start taking a bigger position. The challenging part with this is I think most people, when they see price go down, their excitement normally just wanes. But that's where you have to separate. That's where we have to separate ourselves, and is you have to be able to form a thesis around these coins that goes deeper than just current price action. Like SPX, like I just said, community was still fucking going crazy on TikTok. Murad is still making all these videos. Community's still active and all that. That told me, okay, even though price is down 80%, it's still a good buy. And, you know, it went up 7, 8x. So I think right now, those coins that are presenting those type of opportunities, one of them is salary already popping out of here. I actually really love salary here. Been talking to the guys behind the scenes. Like I said, with USDC, the greatest sign of like really good teams is when they're in your DMs trying to break down everything, being you know, breaking down the vision. I've talked to a few of these guys on the team, and they're really bright guys. I really like the movement behind salary. Essentially, it's a movement that um, is not against, but like is counter to the 9 to 5 job. It's like you know, it's a really unique movement. Definitely go check out what they got going there. I don't want to butcher what they got going on, but they have a unique movement behind it that again has this higher ceiling, great core team behind it. Also has a everybody has the coin as their PFP. That's also another very strong sign. And then in combination with that, salary has an amazing corrective chart pattern. Again, these very tight coil ups. What I like to think of these coil ups as is, again, is springs where price is coming down, but it's essentially coming down in a choppy, controlled manner before it pops back and makes its next impulse up. So I really like salary here. This may be a coin at 9 million that you're able to get some bigger gains if it goes to the hundreds. To where even though it's been up and it's kind of established, this is really where you find a lot of good 5 to 10x's is big coins like this on their first big correction. So that's really been my bread and butter over the last year and a half. And I think salary is presenting potentially one of those. And then staker is actually up, but it's another good one um, that that is good as well. Wait. Yeah. So staker's looking good here too, even though it's up a bunch. Um, this is one to keep an eye on. Again, I don't like top blasting stuff that's up a ton over the last few days, but this is one to keep an eye on as well. Um, Also talking to the people on the team, a lot of good people in there too. Let's see, Geico fam. What's your prediction for Soul? Um, so yeah, I think Bitcoin and Soul are nearing the end of their corrections. Whether this is it yet or not, whether Bitcoin comes down one more time, these coil ups are just obvious. It's a lower time frame coil up in a bigger corrective channel. I think again we're way closer to the bottom if we aren't already there than the top. So I think it's just a matter of time, and I think in the coming weeks we're going to be much higher on the majors and a lot of NFTs. So yeah, I really like Staker here. Really like salary. Like I said, 9 million could pop up here. And then another one I really like we talked about last week on stream is what's it called? Um, what's it called? Jeez, fucking. Launch coin also looks really good too. I know a lot of really polarizing coin, and with the launch pad, typically I think there's going to be enough room in this next wave where volume comes back into the launch pads for multiple launch pads to kind of thrive. Believe being one of them. So I really like this corrective structure here, even though it's a 75% correction. There's multiple bounces and choppy behavior here to where I think Launchcoin very likely is one of the few that comes out of 2025 coins that comes out of this correction. I really like Launch here. What's good, Mike? Yeah, I think so too. Uncharted. Zilla Taylor should we use limit orders and memes. So I'm more of a swing trader. I like to accumulate during these corrections. Um, so typically I don't really use limit orders. I'm just kind of accumulating manually. But let's just say you're trading lower cap coins, a newer coin where you think uh, there's more of a higher chance that it's going to move up in the short term. Then and you think you might miss it, you might be asleep or something. It's never a bad idea. Me personally, I don't really find myself usually needing them because I'm accumulating during corrections. Don't usually need limit orders personally, but it's never a bad idea if you need a lower entry and you don't think you're going to be around. What about cult coins? Absolutely. So right now, my portfolio is kind of made up of, you know, 55% in around 50 to 60% right now in Bitcoin, East, Sol, top 10 coins, stables. And then next, the highest chunk of my portfolio is still in the movement meme coins, the MOGs, Gigas, SPX, ticker Bitcoins, lock in, USDC, Housecoin, stuff like this. Not because I just still think that that's still the most bang for your buck that we're gonna get in this next cycle. I think a lot of people are fading meme coins because of their lack of performance over the next year. But in a world where we get a normie hype mania, where normies are coming in, meme coins are still going to be where most of that capital goes. And I think the movement coins that again inspire people, who are these big like movements that have been set up for 6 months plus, are still going to be the biggest bang for your buck. Meaning you can accumulate them at 100 million to a billion. They're still kind of somewhat established, been around for 6 months, but I still think some of these have 5, 10x, 20x, 30x potential, because of the lack of belief in them right now. But again, you look at every time Bitcoin has come out of these corrections in 22, 23, 24, the great meme coins have always gone on to new all-time highs, and I don't think that changes here. And the difference this time is I think the stage is set for us again to get even a 10, 20% of what we got in 2017 and 2021 in those bull markets, as far as normies and new capital coming in. I think you see the MOGs, the Gigas, the SPX, these coins between 100 million and a billion go to 5, 10, 15 billion plus. Again, MOG went to what, 2 billion back in 2024. There was almost zero normies in. If we get a time where there's just a big influx of capital at all to crypto, I still think stuff like MOG is the easiest 10x you're going to get with a big liquidity pool where you're able to enter in size, right? Because a lot of these coins people are trading on the 100K market cap coins, 1 million market cap coins, 2 million market cap coins. Like, great, you're getting a 20 or 30x, but the liquidity pool is like $50,000. You're it's really hard to enter those coins in size to really and to get out of those coins, frankly, right? So I think right now, MOG, SPX, Giga, um, at USDC, even though it's up, are just presenting just the greatest quote unquote risk to reward opportunities. Despite a lot of people seeing the opposite, I think just they're presenting some of the greatest risk to reward opportunities in crypto right now, and I still think that's where most of the bang for your buck's going to be. So you said, what about the cult coins? I think the cult coins, despite just the lack of interest or the lack, just everybody fading out on crypto Twitter, I still think is the most obvious buys here and has the most potential to inspire and attract the most normie or the most new capital in the next couple of years. So I think Mog easily goes above all time highs and probably again goes to 2, 3, 5 billion plus on this next leg up. Again, do the math there. That'd be a 10x. And I know that sounds crazy that I'm like so sure on a 10x, but you just got to look what happens every time Bitcoin corrects here. Just like Bitcoin corrected here in December of 24 and Mog came out of that correction, same kind of thing's going to happen here. This time I think it goes much, much higher though. So the Mogs, the Giga might be like the most obvious one here because of how much it's gotten beaten. It's close to a 90% correction here, but I think it just has a very high possibility of on this next leg bottoming out and even just back to all-time highs. That's a 10x. So I think I like Giga, Mog, Bitcoin, ticker Bitcoin. Again, a lot of people fading these coins. A lot of people just think, oh, these are old. Why are these going to get another run? But I think because they have such strong communities of people sticking around, people who have just been accumulating, diamond-handed people accumulating all the way down to where if it gets any type of attention, I think these are just going to be the ones that fly the hardest. So really like ticker Bitcoin here. I think it's going to run hard back to all-time highs eventually as well. And I think takes patience, but these are just fucking no-brainer buys right here. And I just can't get enough of these coins. And I know to a lot of people, I just sound like, I heard some guy say on the stream yesterday, like, oh, there's just so much opportunity cost in, buying coins like this. But I just don't view it that way. You just look at what's happened every time Bitcoin, BTC has come out of these corrections. Coins like this that have great communities just fly. And I think this time will be no different. Alt season will come after Bitcoin-led move, in my opinion. Yep, it's possible. It's possible. Trump speaking. Let's check that out. Looks like he spoke.
Have you spoken with President Putin?
Yeah, I don't want to. I have learned things that will be very interesting. I think in the next few days you'll find out.
Okay, I don't think he's speaking right now, but he spoke earlier. Yeah. Juicy Play says, I definitely need to check out that profit video in the Telegram. I feel like a lot of people know how to get in, but never know how to get out. That's a great point, Juicy. Like I said earlier, I think a lot of people, most people you'll find like Yo, my bad, guys. My Wi-Fi completely effed. So if you guys are still on here, my bad. I don't know if the comments, I can still see the comments. Okay, I see you guys in the chat. I appreciate you guys. What is up, teacher? Teacher Katie, what's up? I don't know if you're still in here, but yeah, I apologize, guys. My Wi-Fi just completely dropped. But let me get back to Juicy's question here. Again, if you guys just hopped in while I was out, my Wi-Fi just effed. Why I think this Bitcoin move is either this Bitcoin correction is either over or coming very close to its end, and why I think it's going to ignite a finally this time a big move up in alts and memes that sustains for probably multiple weeks or months. So definitely check that out at the beginning. Like, comment, retweet, bookmark the stream. Guys, if you guys are okay, I apologize if you guys are still on here. I appreciate it. I just had a Wi-Fi just got fucked, and then my sound went out. My mic wasn't working. So, I apologize if you guys stuck on. I appreciate it. But Juicy plays ass. I want to get back to that question. He says that check out the profit taking. Yeah, definitely check that video out. Like you said, a lot of people are good at getting into plays, but most people don't know how to take profits. So definitely check that out. Staker, Shout out to ZK. He's one of the people that kind of pilled me on Staker a couple weeks ago. Do you see it L2 meta waking up after Linea? Yes, I think L2s. That's another kind of, if you're looking for some higher cap exposure, the Arbitrums. I think the Arbitrums of the world. Let me go and share my screen. The Arbitrums look nice here. I think finally, again, because I think so much block space demand is going to come and live on these L2s, that I think something like Arbitrum could finally actually break higher and potentially break the all-time highs. But with the one I like the most, obviously, is Optimism. Obviously, base chain is built on Optimism. A lot of these great already existing L3s and other things are built on Optimism. Been faded, but I think there's a potential that over the next few years that these climb higher. You got to be patient because, again, who knows when this narrative is going to take off. But I think generally the L2 tokens could be a nice, really slept on sector going into 2026. So, yeah, those fucking dirty bears rug my stream. IRA. Yeah, let's look at IRA for you. Let me go ahead and try to catch up. Appreciate you guys with your IRA, 2.4 million. So IRA to me, just straight off the bat, don't know anything else about the actual project, but I think what this is to me is very likely the beginning stages of its first major correction. So what I see here is it's already seen one low in the correction, two lows. Like I told you, if these corrective channels are to result in another move to the upside, usually it's after 2 to 4 lows. With 3 lows, I've usually found to be the most common. But as you can see, 2 fresh lows here made. I wouldn't be surprised if it made another one. But essentially, what you want to see on here that tells you that it's correcting versus, just like a reversal that may never come back, is you want to see it bounce here and show corrective behavior, which shows us that it still has life and is not just a straight pump and dump. So that's what I would like to see here for IRA. Is it for it to bounce one more time, potentially put in one more low? And if you're really bullish on the coin for reasons other than the price, that's where you want to be buying it. So that's what I could see playing out for IRA. I already went over Sol. I think Sol is. Do I think Sol will hit $1,000? Over a 5-year time horizon, sure. Kind of like how I said on ETH earlier, it could happen. It could happen in a Sol, $1,000 Sol, which would be like 4x the all-time high. Could happen in 26, 27, or it could take till 2030 or even later, right? But overall, I think $1,000 Sol, because of how many people are going to be using the Solana blockchain over the next 5 to 10 years, I think $1,000 is probably inevitable at some point. Sol is going to hit 140 by the end of the year. I don't know, brother. I don't think it goes down to 140, but anything's possible. Teacher Katie, what's good? I know I'm 30 minutes behind on this, but what impact would it be for the trenches if the California? So that, just so you guys know, if you watch that full interview, he's just joking. He's just like trolling Trump. He's definitely not launching a coin. What's your take on selling Bitcoin near the top? Obviously hard to call, and buying back after a correction. I know you mentioned that traditional cycles are over, but wouldn't there still be a nice correction to accumulate more? That's a great question, man. So, I mean, that's kind of the golden question. It kind of goes along with, the whole 4-year cycle thing. The way I personally, everybody has different goals, right? Everybody, you got to just decide what's best for you and the way that you want to do it. For me personally, and this is kind of really solidified over the last few years after seeing just like Bitcoin really be solidified in TradFi and everything, I treat Bitcoin and ETH as vehicles that I am not selling. Like, even if Bitcoin goes up to 2, 3, 400K, I personally am not selling any of my Bitcoin or ETH because I have way higher, longer time horizons. Those are kind of my investment bucket, stuff that I'm not really touching. Maybe I'll borrow against it someday, stuff like that, but I'm not touching. But everything else, I am taking profits aggressively into Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and stables. A portion of all the profits that I'm making are going into stables so that I can accumulate other maybe Bitcoin and ETH when they come down, but for the most part have chips, USD chips, like lifestyle chips that I can use at any time, kind of take some risk off the table. But to answer your question, Juicy, I personally treat Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol where I'm not selling. I'm just accumulating more of it through trading memes and everything else. But with that being said, obviously, if Bitcoin goes crazy and goes to 300K, never a bad idea to take some chips off the table. In fact, most of the whales, you see these big Bitcoin sales lately, a lot of them have been into ETH, but a lot of them have been into USD. As you see, as the cycle goes higher, a lot of times you'll see a lot of these whale types who have had Bitcoin since 2011 take profits off the board. So it's never a bad idea. It's just personally your goals, right? Me personally, I'm not touching my Bitcoin or ETH. I think they go way higher over the next 5 or 10 years. And I'm personally using the memes, alts, stuff like that to kind of build to like make USD, like, put some stables to the side. But some people use Bitcoin and ETH to trade them as well. Just really whatever your preference is. Thanks, Esther. I appreciate it. Thank you, JT. Spaced Frameless with the repost. Appreciate you. Uncharted Territory, you and Bossman have helped me navigate this market. This Telegram is top notch. Shout out to you guys, everybody from the Bossman Calls Telegram channel. If you guys aren't already in there, I'm really active on Twitter, but I put all my in-depth trade ideas, the stuff that are like too long for Twitter, tips and tricks, videos, giveaways, all that good stuff in there. So if you're not already in there, check us out. USDUC, SPX. What else? A lot of coins. I posted first in there with, in-depth trade ideas weeks or, days before they took off. So definitely check that out. What's my vision on finance? So Bossman is really bullish on finance. I see a lot of good people in it. I would really like to see it break above this all-time high. Whenever there's a week of consolidation on a coin, you really just want to see it. You really want to see it break the all-time high. This is something I want to go on to really quickly. Is the biggest thing that's almost always there. That's almost always present during big tops or bottoms is one thing. This is one thing you should be looking for that'll really help you identify whether something is a top or potential top or bottom, or is just going to be a continuation to the upside. And that is one thing, and that's consolidation. Okay. Almost every single major top or bottom on the higher time frames, especially, but even on the lower time frames, is going to have some type of consolidation, or what some people like to call distribution or accumulation, where price goes sideways before reversing. Very, very rarely does a coin, a stock, a metal, a whatever the fuck, an NFT just go down 90% and all of a sudden the next day just shoot the fuck up and
All right, guys, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties. I think we're going to end the stream here. Thank you guys so much for showing up. I know Bryn and I Can't Stop Me Now appreciate the hell out of you guys. Hopefully, we get this Wi Fi situation figured out. And you guys have a blessed Tuesday. Remember, we're going to be here on Friday. Oh, looks like we might have Bryn back.
Can you hear me? Hello? Bro.
Yep, they can hear you now.
Okay. Is there a delay? I'm gonna refresh this one more time. All right, guys. For everybody who's still here, my fucking Wi-Fi keeps effing, but we're here. We're gonna push through. I'm gonna go ahead and if some of you guys are still here, I'm gonna go ahead and answer some of the questions that are higher up. But yeah, just having some technical difficulties today, but we're pushing through. But I think Soul will explode by next October. Next October or this October? Yeah, no, I'm not looking at anything. My favorite cult coin is Mog. It pumps like crazy. Yeah, I think Mog is a no-brainer here. FOMOing is the best way to lose your money. Yeah. X-Ray asks, can you talk about position figure size? Are we talking for that as comfortable per market cap? Yeah, it's another great one, right? I think the two biggest important skills that and I'm going to share my screen here too. The two biggest skills that I think bro, the two biggest skills that I think most people should be focusing on is profit taking, like I said, and then also position sizing. Let me share my screen. Um, hold on, guys. Let me close something. Hold on, stick with me. But yeah, position sizing is very important to me. I just never bet more than 10% of my port on any coin. So I think that's just a good rule. And then I like the idea of picking 5 to 15 coins that you really like and just sticking with those. Do you think World Liberty Fi is going to skyrocket like Trump did when it was listed? I need to close some stuff on my computer, guys. Give me 2 seconds. Just having all types of bad luck today. First it was the Wi-Fi, now my computer's just like fucking lagging out. But Do I think World Liberty Fi is going to skyrocket like Trump did? I think World Liberty Fi, there's a market cap that makes sense to accumulate it. But for me, I would like to see it go down to probably a few $1 billion. I think it has a shot at really missing or really going because of the Trump's ability to capture attention around the coin and everything. So I think World Liberty Fi has a shot at running, but I just would like to see it go down a lot more first. Okay, so now we're back at full speed here. Yeah, my network was just fucked. First was my network, and then the fucking shit timed out. My computer lagged out, but we're here. They don't want us to win. I think it cut out again. Yeah. Hopefully we're good now. Yeah, we're good. I don't know if my comment sent, but I asked what you think on selling Bitcoin close to the cycle top. Yeah, it again just depends on your goals. For me, I'm just holding Bitcoin for decades to come. I have no plans on selling my Bitcoin. Do you think that the next 3 or 4 or 5 months, do you think meme coins would still be viable? Yes, absolutely. In fact, I think meme coins will still be the sector that gets the most volume and the most attention. I think especially those movement memes. I'm way more bullish on movement memes like USDC, MOG, Giga, SPX especially, that have these higher, bigger goals and are more like movements versus a coin like Jelly or whatever that is just circled around one singular meme, which is the peanut butter jelly time thing, which that's just one example. That coin could do really well. I have no clue, but I'm way more bullish on movements. I think movements are going to inspire people and actually attract millions of people, whereas a coin like a singular meme based around a singular meme still has a billion potential. Some might go to multiple billions, but I think the movement memes, again, SPX, Gigas, Mogs, ticker Bitcoins, have 5 to 10 billion market cap plus potential. Shout out to you, Hayes. Love you, bro. Yo, so somebody asked, where can I find the profit taking strategy? Let me go ahead and share my whole screen real quick. Actually, let me see if I can do this. Yeah, let's do this. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check out the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. So started this actually, my buddy Boss Man, obviously, my partner in crime, my homie. He started it in the like early 2023. I think had about 200 to 300 members. Him and I, came into contact and joined up. And since then, the group's gone from about like November of 2023 to now to about 40,000 members. It's been an absolute fucking blessing to post in there every day. Met people from all around the world, introduced to people I fucking never would imagined I'd meet again through people I met through this Telegram channel. So if you're in there, shout out to everybody from all around the world. There's people from literally every fucking continent except Antarctica, maybe. But I've met people from literally all over the fucking world from this Telegram channel. So shout out to you if you're from there. You guys are the fucking best. I think by far the best community on fucking Telegram. If you're not on there, as you can see, these are by Bossman, myself. Like I post in-depth thoughts on these different coins, and there's stuff on the majors, meme coins, all that good stuff. So definitely check us out in there if you haven't already. But whoever asked about the profit taking video, if you type in ABTPP, this one right here, where I go into text my kind of profit taking strategy, but also this 10-minute video
What's up, guys?
that I made, I think last year, that goes into exactly how my profit taking strategy and how you can use it to hopefully become more profitable yourself if that's what you're looking for. But yeah, definitely check out that. Let me go ahead and switch back to my normal screen. Where are we? But yeah, I apologize for the technical difficulties. Again, I just got hit with the Wi-Fi and then my computer's fucking up, but we're here. Appreciate you guys for sticking with me. Everybody, I say this, quite often, but every single big breakthrough and big win that I've had from the Trump coin to GME, just like pretty much every big breakthrough I've made in my trading career where has come after a period of uncertainty or just like times where I stuck around and didn't give up. Usually after these big corrective periods. For example, in 2024, we were very in the Telegram channel. Same kind of thing. We're very adamant that the great meme coins that have stuck around are going to do very well. And after that, everybody who was around knew that the XPX, the Gigas, the Mogs, the AI coins, everything went on crazy 10, 20x runs. And I think that's what's coming here again, if you're in the right stuff. Oh no, Bears again. Yeah, fuck the Bears. Fucking Bears. Shout out to what's up, everybody? UT, all good. We still here. The network is so bad. Let's leave it for another day. I'm here, bro. You're welcome to come back though. Always appreciate you having you on here. Jay thinks streams are always dope, bro. Any thoughts on Ton? Yeah, I'll look at Ton. Yo, Misfit Hunter, write him again. I didn't see your question. But yeah, we went over a few coins again on the top of the screen that I think have 5 to 10x potential that are kind of slept on. Again, Salary looks really nice here chart wise. A great group of guys. Yeah, great group of guys here in Salary. Very strong community and rating. They have the PFPs with the S, with the coin. Just kind of all these good signs and kind of green flags that I've seen from other coins that have gone 5 to 10x. And it's in its first major correction. I think that's, for me, just so many times I've caught coins during their first major correction and they go on to make huge moves. For example, Zero Bro back in the day, before it made its crazy fall from grace, I remember back on the lower time frames seeing, let's see if I can go on the 4 hour, seeing Zero Bro with great, really nice corrective setups like this, for example, where it did this really nice corrective setup on the lower time frames, or like here, really presented these first big corrections where if you would have bought Zero Bro on these right here, or even on that second big correction, you were liable to get 100x if you would have, held it to the top. So I think something similar here for Salary. Hopefully not in the way that Zero Bro collapsed. It's not what I meant, but more so in the early corrections leading to really high market caps. So this is something that I could see easily going to 100 million and beyond, and a coin that I think a lot of us can be quote unquote somewhat early on while still showing a lot of good signs of stability. So I really like Salary here, and then. Also, I've been making some strategic bets on creator coins. I want to know what you guys think in the chat. Creator coins. Are you bullish? Do you think that's the future? Do you think creators, at least some of them, streamers, creators in general, are going to tokenize themselves and have a coin attached to their brand? Me personally, I think it's the future. I think the world is going to be tokenized, and I think the celebrity meme coin route, where a celebrity just launches a meme coin with nothing, no utility, nothing of serious value attached to it, is just burnt. I think forever, for the most part, those are kind of set up to fail, unless you're a Trump, which you can continuously add value to it. There's an argument to that, but outside being a Trump or like a majorly famous person, I think the route that a lot of these creators are gonna go, and what makes sense, is creating creator tokens. A lot of times through Zora or Base or a streamer, like if a pump fund, if you're through a streamer, that only works if it's directly attached, has a flywheel that's directly attached to your content in some way. Like how Zora, if you guys haven't used that, the way it works is essentially Zora and Base. Every piece of your content is tokenized so that people can collect it, support it, tip you a few dollars by buying a few dollars of your posts, which then has a flywheel that goes back into your creator token. So essentially, every time people collect or buy these people's content, it flows back into their creator token. I think it's a way to speculate and get upside on creators. For example, a lot of these streamers coming up, like Rasmer, or a lot of these guys. Let's say Rasmer, for example, is the next fucking great streamer overall. Wow, this is actually looking nice. My buy on Rasmer is looking nice right here. But something like Rasmer, if he's the next fucking great 100K viewer streamer, this allows people to speculate and get potential upside on these streamers early on. And obviously, like we've seen with other things, where the attention goes, volume flows, right? Where attention is, meaning a big streamer, naturally people are going to speculate on, and money, I think, believe is going to flow into the tokens. So I bought a good amount of Rasmer here. I think Rasmer is kind of like has the most potential as far as I feel like crypto creators, or like just the crypto content creation niche, is so early and there's just not a lot going on right now. And I think Rasmer has, at least right now, out of the current people making content, has a really potential to break through. More so, he makes kind of more digestible content with the street content and stuff. And I think he's just kind of the front runner for these existing pump fund tokens. So bought a lot of Rasmer. He also, if you look into it, owns 80% of the supply that he has locked away for a long time. So pretty bullish supply control overall. I could see his coin going up here, kind of igniting this big meta. And I really like Rasmer. Gainsey, another one that I bought a bit of, up 22% today as well. These nice consolidations on here, I think, are going to lead to some big upside on these coins. So Gainsey's a little bit smaller at 4 million. But as you can see, Gainsey's probably up there with Rasmer, with one of the most consistent and viral pump fund streamers so far. And I think as the market goes up and the niche goes higher, these are obvious accumulations and stuff like Gainsey and Rasmer. So another one I really like too is Gyat. For those of you guys don't know, this guy, Frankie. Everybody's seen this guy on Instagram, the guy with the fat ass. Um, he created this token, as you can see here, back in February. Throughout this time, even before Rasmer and everything launched, he's super consistent, saying that he wants to, no matter what the industry does, he's going to continue to stream. He has like a really high quality, like $30,000 backpack that he does IRL streams on, and this guy has millions of followers on TikTok and Instagram. And right now, people don't give a fuck about crypto on TikTok and Instagram, but I think they will in 2026. And people who have those followings already, who have the distribution of millions of people, when crypto is hot, I think is going to matter. And I really like Giat coin as well too. For me, the way I'm pricing these is I think a lot of these have 5 to 10x potential, and if the niche really does pop off, could go a lot higher. So I like these coins to go to 25 to 50 million just off the bat. But again, if the creator coin niche gets massive, I could see this going a lot fucking higher. So Giat's another one I really like. And who knows? I think the streamer narrative is not only presenting a lot of great opportunities right now to buy, but what I think has the most potential, or one of the most potential, to onboard a bunch of creators into crypto. And a lot more people who might buy their first crypto coin because to support their favorite creators. And I think creator coins that are directly attached to the content, whether that be through streaming or through streaming or through Zora, that has a direct flywheel to the actual content, is it going to be a great way for celebrities to enter crypto in a non-scammy, extractive way. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, though. Have you bought any of these creator coins? Are you bullish on them? Is it even something you're thinking about? Can I look at Dolan and lock in? Absolutely. Let me look at Dolan on Dolan at 4 million. Had a big initial run in 2020, end of 2024, and then came down with everything else, obviously. Dolan's one of the original kind of cult communities. Kind of a really cool story behind it. Obviously, it's not as popular now, but like late in 2024, there was a big kind of meta or narrative in memes around, I don't know what to call it without what to call it, but like this art style, where Bowden, Tremp, a lot of these other coins kind of took this kind of art style, or kind of took their spin on this art style that originally started with Dolan. Obviously, it's like a whatever demented version of Donald Duck, and really cool story behind it. The artist who kind of started this art is involved directly with the project in the Telegram all the time, or at least he was when I was active in there. And I think whenever you see coins that have made massive runs, big pullbacks, made resurgences, made huge pullbacks, made resurgences multiple times, like Dolan has, I think there's a very high shot that it's going to do it again. It increases the likelihood that it's going to do it again in good meme conditions. So I really like Dolan here. I haven't bought any in a bit, but I think there's a good shot just because it's really solidified itself, has a really lot of diamond-handed holders, and you have people like Mikey trading, this guy over here, like people who really believe in it still. So no to scammy intentions. Are you talking about creator coins? Yeah, again, I think creator coins, especially on Zora, that don't give a lot of supply to the creator, where the supply is eked out over time, over years, is actually bullish. And you're right, I'm not bullish on celebrity meme coins, but I think creator tokens that's directly tied to the actual content is going to do well. Celeb influencers soon. Yeah, there's always going to be a lot of celebs that launch meme coins, I think, but um I a lot of those are just going to be scams. Creator tokens, which again, I've said this 6 times, but it's directly tied to the content, where if people buy the content, it flows back into the token. I think I'm bullish on that. Where are we going with World Liberty Fi? I'd like to see World Liberty Fi consolidate for I'd like to see World Liberty Fi. I guess you could argue it's been consolidating for 2 or 3 days here. Let's say best case scenario, it consolidates for another 3 or 4 days in this box, and market conditions, Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, start heating up, and memes start ripping. I could see something like a double bottom here on World Liberty Fi, but I think this would have to come with a lot of announcements, and them really making a lot of it waves and attention. But if it were to do this and consolidate here for another even 3 or 4 days, I could see the world where it does shift up here. But I could also see the world where there's still a bunch of pre-sale people that are selling, and it just breaks right through this low. Personally, I would really love World Liberty Fi to break to 10 billion, 9 billion FDV, and at that point you could start to justify maybe to accumulate it. But at this market cap, I think there's just, personally for me, other shit I'd rather buy. Yeah, we'll look at Clippy. Damn, what is she saying pause to? I don't even know. Oh, Yacht? Yeah, I know. Yacht for real, and Yacht gains will come with it, yeah. Well, I didn't even know about all these creator coins. Well, now you fucking do. That's what you get for being on this fucking stream, dude. You get the niches before they blow up. No, but for real, I think the creator tokens are really on the brink of blowing up. Forgot to finish about finance. Maybe that's what I stepped off on. Finance, to me, I think there's a lot of good signs behind it, a lot of good people supporting it, from what I've seen. The only thing that is a little bit sus to me, and why I'm not buying a ton of it here, is because it has been consolidating for about 8 or 9 days here. I think that's what I cut off on too. Consolidation. You're looking for a big bottom or top, whether it be on a meme coin, Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, Forex, stocks. Almost always there's going to be consolidation of days, months, weeks before it goes reverses, right? I'll show you right now. On Bitcoin, for example, every single major Bitcoin top, 2020, 21, for example, consolidated between 70K for 8 or 9 months and came down. This other bull market here consolidated here for, what was this, 2 or 3 months before coming down. Very rarely are you going to get a major top without a little bit of consolidation, or what people like to call distribution, before coming down. So whenever I see a coin like Finance or anything that's been going sideways for a week, 2 weeks, stuff like that, I start to take caution. Okay, that doesn't mean that it can't go up, because there's plenty of times where consolidation is just a correction before going higher. But more often than not, consolidation, meaning sideways, it holds a high or a low, chop, whatever you want to call it, for days or weeks, more often than not leads to some type of reversal. So I don't have any Finance here personally. I'm going to, again, if it were to make a pullback and start to make kind of a correction like this, then I may start to look to add. But me personally, I think that, again, there's just 10 other coins I think are in obvious corrections right now that I would rather buy. With that being said, if you are in Finance, I think this is what you kind of want to see, is that it kind of chops a little bit and then all of a sudden gives you just a fat candle and breaks right through this high. Because the longer it chops below 35 or whatever, I think there's just a higher likelihood that it reverses to the downside. So that's just my thoughts on it. You really want to see it break to the upside here soon. Misfit, I have no idea what your question is, bro. I have not seen it. I don't think I see it. What do you think the bottom's in on Bitcoin? I think the bottom's either in or very close. I think all signs are pointing to a good chance that we've bottomed out here. Again, if we somehow, this is another bounce and you get another low, boy, I would make sure to get your DCAs in, because I think where we're at right now, again, I just compare it to the consolidate or the correction from June. I think we're around here, around this section right here. Like, I think I think that we're, I think this is where we're at. Like you are here. That's where I think we're kind of at for this correction, right? Like coming to the ending stages. Of course, it's always the possibility that Bitcoin pulls back a little bit more, but I think we're generally seeing the same thing as we saw in June, but except Bitcoin just came a little bit lower. But we got this corrective behavior since August in this bigger correction. Pretty much what we got here is the lower time frames confluence with the higher time frames. And just like I said about consolidation a second ago, what do you see here to top it off? We got 3 days of consolidation where Bitcoin accumulated or went sideways. All signs are pointing to upside being very imminent. Again, that's why I said in this tweet here earlier that the Bitcoin bottom is either in or very close. Get your DCAs in. And I don't mean Bitcoin DCAs specifically. I'm talking meme, alts, all that DCAs, because again, just like we saw in 2024, like, let me go ahead and show you right now. 2024, Bitcoin bottomed out on this correction September. Bitcoin bottomed out in this correction in September and ripped for 3 or 4 months. Let's go ahead and look at all these different coins, what they did at that time. Let's go ahead and look at MOG. September of 24, what did it do? September of 24, what did MOG do? Bottomed out here and then proceeded to rip almost 6x. Let's see what stuff like Giga did. September of 24. Giga kind of just ripped on its own, man. But September of 24 corrected, and then Giga went on to did 7 or 8x. Let's look at ticker Bitcoin. Like, you're starting to see a pattern here that what happens every time Bitcoin comes out of its corrections. September of 24, ticker Bitcoin went on to fucking 7 or 8x. Every single strong meme coin, when Bitcoin comes out of these corrections, goes on to 5 to 10x. And guess what? Bitcoin, the memes and the alts did that last time, and Bitcoin only went up for fucking 3 months. 3 fucking months Bitcoin went up, and all those coins went up 8 or 9x. What do you think happens when we get a 6 months to a year period God willing, it happens, right? 6 months plus of a raging bull market. What do you think those fucking coins are going to do? And that's with no normies coming in, no new capital, very few new capital, very little new capital coming in. What do you think is going to happen when we get an actual influx of capital coming in with 6 months plus? I think these coins, again, the coins that are down right now, a bunch like the Bitcoins, the Mogs, the Gigas, that have really solidified community, a really solidified community with, great content creators, time in the game, great supply distribution. I think these things go on 10, 20, 30, 50x runs. And I know that sounds like I'm a fucking moon boy, but again, you got to look to every single time crypto, Bitcoin, or to see what these memes have done every single time that Bitcoin ripped out of these corrections. I think this one's way stronger. And instead of 5 to 8x's on these, I think we're going to get 10 to 20. And what I think is going to happen is a lot of coins struggle to get past 5 billion, but I think pretty quickly here we're going to see a lot of coins go to 5 billion, and then 5 billion is going to become the new 1 billion. And yeah. Yeah, I'll check the Telegram DM, bro. What about Uranus? It's been consolidating for 40 days. Buying on the spot would be wise, I guess. Yeah, I think spot is you just can't go wrong buying the spot coins. Yeah, celeb meme coins are cooked. I agree, Hawk, but I think again, the coins that come out of Zora and Pump Fund, where the coin is attached to their content, is going to win. But again, if it's just a coin where someone drops the CA on their Twitter, I think that's cooked. What about Uranus? What about my Uranus? No, I'm just playing. Uranus in a nice corrective. Oh, fuck. In a nice kind of corrective coil up. Again, hearing a lot of mixed signals around Uranus. A lot of people really bullish on it, say that, it's great that the Jupiter team is working on it. Some people think it's a little bit less, a little bit more sus. Just typically with the chart, it looks very coiled. And I think when the market kind of recovers here soon, we're going to see Uranus probably do pretty well. I don't have any. I think, again, there's just a lot of other no-brainers that I've been buying. But I think Uranus has a shot here, just strictly looking at the chart. I don't know which question you're talking about. You have to ask more. Again, I got interrupted by the Wi-Fi effing, so. We are winning this year. Absolutely. NFT season when? I think 25, 26, man. I still think we're kind of in the NFT winter. And fuck, I wish I could find it. Let me look. I wish I could find this clip. Let's see. Let's go and look on Twitter, though. Let's see what's good. Somebody asked, where are we going with World Liberty Fi? Short term, I'd like to see, again, World Liberty Fi dump out more. But shout out to Wolf Crypto. What's good? Shout out everybody commenting on the post. I'm going to do that giveaway here at the end. But let's see what's good on the timeline. Crazy.
Hate it, bro? Come on, bro. You really cool, bro. You walk like a cool guy, bro. You super cool, bro. You guys are really cool, bro.
That's crazy.
These guys are super cool, bro. They think they're celebrities. Horny. So who's gonna help you?
He's horny.
You keep looking for help. Who's gonna help you?
He's fucking horny, bro.
This guy keeps getting so angry,
horny,
bro.
Nuts. Wow. I don't know if you guys excuse me. I don't know if you guys seen here. Pump Looks like Bonk.fun is announcing natively integrated into Bonk.fun, allowing creators to go live on Kick and have their streams displayed inside our UI. Wow. That's pretty interesting. Kick has earned the streaming game as an underdog with innovative features. Now, that's interesting. I wonder if they could do something where now the token is obviously not shown on the screen. It's just that's interesting. I'd like to go. That's interesting. I want to definitely check that out. I wonder. I wonder. Let's say like a fucking Neon or whoever the fuck streaming on Kick, and then somehow had a token if it like can integrate into both. How that works, but you're seeing a lot of talk right now. I've seen a lot of the consensus is Pokemon cards is like the bet overall to buy over crypto over the next 2 or 3 years. People are showing charts of Pokemon kind of going straight up and to the right. While I think that's valid, I think Pokemon's the biggest IP in the entire world. You guys know how I feel about collecting. I think collecting in general, physical and eventually digital stuff, is going to continue to rise. But I think where crypto's at right now, over the next 3 to 5 years, especially with these great setups right now, I personally take the other side of that bet. I think great coins, the great meme coins, especially even stuff like ETH, I think is going to perform most Pokemon collections or most Pokemon sealed product. But let me know what you guys think. You guys big Pokemon people? Never really been a big physical collector until recently with VFriends. Been collecting a lot of the cards and the stuff with them. But I think collecting in general is just on the rise. I think Gary Vee kind of makes the case again that collecting is going to be up there with sports and music and all this stuff. We're already seeing it with Labubu being so fucking massive. I think we're going to see more of that. And eventually, the next iteration of that is NFTs. Because NFTs not only allow you to collect digital collectibles in a world that's becoming more digital, but what the founders can do is attached utility to programmable utility to the NFT, where in 3 to 5 years or a year from now, if they want to give a certain benefit or discount or whatever the fuck activation, whatever to their early supporters or whoever owns a certain NFT, they can put that in there. Whereas you own a Pokemon card, Pokemon Company isn't going to give you a fucking discount or a whatever the fuck through a physical card. I think. Sorry, what'd you say? Yeah. Also, too, my producer made a good point right now that the biggest thing with the blockchain too is like Pokemon cards. You're seeing a lot of the fakes, like really good looking fakes, and any products really. I think the NFTs are gonna pretty much eliminate that. Whereas the only way, whether it's content, Pokemon cards, the only way that you're in the future or in the near future that you're going to be able to verify the validity or the authenticity of anything is if it's minted on chain. And I think that goes for content. And I think that's why the Zora model, where tokenized content is going to be the wave, where it may not be the Trojan horse, may just be security and authenticity. And they just make every single post tokenized and on chain so that people can verify that that content is actually belongs to that real person in their wallet. But that's a little futuristic shit. I pasted same question 5 times. I don't see it, bro. So you keep saying that. You want to repeat the question? That'd be good. I don't know. Maybe the chatbot's fucking. I don't know. I don't know what you guys are asking, but lots of variable storage space grading or cards are as liquid per se. ETH. Yeah, for sure. There's definitely just trade-offs with physical and digital, right? Physical, of course, you have something in your hand that you can always hold on to, and people value that, right? Which is valid. But the digital, again, programmable utility, community, maybe it's like a flex, right? It's like a social status and some of these things, stuff like that. I think but again, you can't hold that in your hand. It might be less liquid, all that different stuff. there's trade-offs for both, but thank you. Rojam says Tyler did its post from a couple minutes back. The SEC and CFTC have issued a joint statement allowing registered exchanges to enable the trading of spot crypto assets. Wow. Danger, yes, I'll look at lock-in right now for you. Wow, that's crazy, Rojam. Yo, shout out to Drewski. You've been on here the last few weeks. Really appreciate you being on it. All of you guys. Thesis. Love your content and streams. Keep going. Shout out to you. Bros in the Bermuda Triangle. That's crazy. How's life in the Bermuda Triangle, bro? Can you look at lock in? Yeah. Let me do that. But yeah, to touch on what Rojam just said, let's go ahead and look at the SEC at CFTC. Let's go ahead and look at what Tyler did it. I don't know about you, but I always get this guy Tyler did it on my timeline. Let me know if it's just me or this guy's posts always he's dominant on the timeline. But look, just the SEC and CFTC have issued a joint statement allowing registered exchanges to enable their trade of spot crypto assets. Translation: the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, SBOE, CME will have spot trading for Bitcoin, ETH, and more. More barriers falling down. Wow, that is fucking bullish. Again, guys, like for the last 6 or 7 months, despite price being down, we still look at charts as far as corrective channel patterns go. But I've been like so fucking adamant is like we need to put our attention on these things that are happening in the background because all these amazing things, and it's because simply the price corrections, even if they're fucking 30, 40, 50% downside, they're always temporary, especially in this environment. But the exchanges being able to trade crypto, for example, is long lasting. These are the things that may not show up in price in the first couple days or couple weeks, but they enable our industry, not only enable for Bitcoin to go up in over a couple months or a couple year period and creates more demand, but it allows and makes sure this industry is going to be here a couple years from now and that we have something to fucking trade or buy or invest in 5 years from now. So this is just another thing. Like I just challenge you, form a thesis on this industry and crypto and pay attention to shit like this, because maybe it doesn't make price go up right away, but it's stuff that is writing on the wall that's pointing to, okay, price might be down right now, but all this crazy, amazing shit that's going to create more demand for these assets is happening in the background. So, I mean, it's just a no-brainer, dude. It's just amazing, though.
Pushing it. I think Slinger's in it too, but he's unstable. So yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah,
cool
it's chilling here at 1.5.
I haven't seen him do that before. But let's see. Can I look at lock in? Yeah, NFT doesn't seem potential like before. I think it's quite the opposite. Let's go over NFTs here in a second to close it out. But lock in. Not that lock in. Damn. Okay. Lock in. Came off of this high, which actually, I'm not going to lie, doesn't look ideal. But I think generally lock in is going to follow the rest of the market. Again, just look at what it did last September when it came out of this correction. It went on to 10x. I think if and when Bitcoin comes out of this correction, which I think, again, we've talked about, I think is soon, I think we're going to see lock in go up, back up. So I've been accumulating lock in. I'm going to continue to hold. Again, this isn't as good of a setup because it is failing to break this high here, but I think there's a good chance that maybe after a bit of chop that we just head back up, probably from here, if not from a little bit lower. So I really like lock in. Again, even though it's older, has a less attention lately, lock in is just a universal phrase that everybody from fucking 7-year-olds to like 80-year-olds say, right? Even before the big craze last year, everybody still says lock in. It has a couple years time in the game now, or a year and a half. I think very good chance that it goes to back above 100 million on this next run. So I like lock in here. But NFT doesn't seem to have potential like before. I think it's quite the opposite. Obviously 98% of shit has died, right? And most of the stuff is not going to come back. But I think we're coming to the end of the crypto winter. I'm sorry, NFT winter. And the 7 to 10, 7 to 15, 2021 or IP projects. Again, the Moonbirds, the Bored Apes, the Pudgies, the V Friends, which is my biggest bet by far. Probably the biggest sleeper in all of NFTs right now. In the long term, short term, you name it. You got the Azukis, probably Doodles, stuff like that. Maybe Cyber Kongs, the stuff that have stuck around and are really truly building. I think those are going to have a big resurgence, and we're going to get a second NFT bull run, probably simultaneously with the crypto bull run. I think all the signs are there in the charts, in a lot of these projects, like Pudgy's making a lot of real world impact. I think all signs are pointing to a resurgence, at least in the top projects. I think in this next NFT bull, we're going to get CryptoPunks obviously dominating. They're the one. We're going to get art, the Jack Butcher shit, like the all the really renowned artists from 2021. The obviously the squiggles and the different stuff like that, and then probably where you're going to get the biggest gains on and where you could be really early if you're paying attention is the meme coin NFTs. Everybody I explain this concept to, it just immediately clicks, right? NFTs, I think, are going to be strong next year. Crypto and meme coins, obviously, huge, strong narrative. In a world where both of those conditions are strong, I believe the convergence of the two things, the meme coins and NFTs, are going to create some crazy opportunities. And I think it just makes sense. People in these meme coin communities, they already have PFPs. Like we talked about, Salary has the Salary coin PFP. But I think people, especially when NFTs are popping, are going to want a tokenized NFT version to represent their favorite community, right? You're seeing Aeons already at 0.79 ETH. You got the Sproto Gremlins. These two, I think, are going to be the top dogs. You got the Pond NFT, which is obviously my PFP, which is I think is actually really slept on. If you look at the artist Garut, really working closely with Pump Fund, making a lot of art for them. He's like the head of art at Yuga Labs. And then Fwog, the coin, is actually getting a lot of love from Pump.Fun. So I think this one's really slept on. But I think pretty soon, all the existing and most of the new meme coin projects are going to launch an existing NFT project. And it doesn't even have to be like a big paid mint. They could do a free mint. And I think it's going to create good opportunities for meme coin NFTs, where the coin and the NFT are going to kind of go up together, and you can kind of speculate on both. So, yeah, I think that's where it is, and I think it's just a matter of time. Timing's impossible. Who knows? There could be a big fucking company that drops an NFT project tomorrow. There could be a game that implements NFT technology. It could be a number of things, but I see in the end of 2025, especially 2026, I think we get a big resurgence in NFT activity and in the floor prices of some of the projects. Did you go over Lofi? No, I'll look at that. What did you say about the Milady NFT? I think Milady NFT is probably one of the best risk to reward, slept on NFT as well, because they're just one of the strongest cults with still a ton of presence. I haven't looked at Milady in a bit, but every time NFTs surge, you get Milady's moving up hard. 2 ETH, sitting pretty steadily at 2 ETH. Dude, I think NFTs have a big run. Milady's are going to probably go above 10 ETH. So that's just the way I see it. I don't have Milady's. I have some Remilios. But in a world where NFTs go crazy in 2026, I think Milady's probably a fucking no-brainer too. What's a sign for normies joining? Great question. So normies are joining. It'll be pretty fucking obvious. You'll hear everywhere. You'll hear a lot of media, whether it be through YouTube, comedians. You'll see it in your real life. Everybody will be talking about crypto. Everybody will talk about, oh yeah, you like what crypto coins you're talking about. The biggest sign is when people that you knew never were interested in crypto in your real life all of a sudden starting to ask about crypto. One of the biggest top signals is Coinbase usage. Like if you look at the top Apple charts right now, let's just go for finance. Finance, for example. You look at the top 10 apps. When we're close to the top, or when the normies are back, you're going to see this for sure in the top 10, but probably up there with PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. And as you guys know, PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo are also crypto exchanges. So you're going to see these three dominate, but you're probably going to see Coinbase right up there with that. Because again, Coinbase is the biggest normie app, at least in the United States. So that's a big one. But stuff like that, you're going to know though. Just like that there's no normies here now, it's very evident. The brand around crypto right now is just like shitty. It's going to be very obvious when a normie cycles there. But that's a few things you can look for. Misfit Hunter, I have no idea why the bot would be blocking your chat if that's really happening. I apologize. You can DM me and let me know what you were going to ask, and I'll let you know if whatever. But am I a big fan of FWOG? Yes. FWOG may be one of the most slept on. It's obviously down over 90% still, which I think is kind of detracting a lot of people. But I think Gurwoot, the artist, has a lot of mind share right now, has a lot of connections with Pump Fund. And for anybody who's around the last few years and saw the great content that came out of the FWOG page, make continuously good content, videos, all of that, I think has the potential to actually become like an IP that people enjoy outside of crypto Twitter. So definitely not like I could see reasons why people might be turned away because it's down 95%. But for me, all the signs check out to where it's a potential IP play long term, but as well as has like a pretty strong cult community, people who have stuck around. I'm gonna get some water really quick. Let me know any other coins you guys want me to look at. I'll be right back. All right. I'm back. Yeah, I don't know. There could be something with Twitter in your account, to be completely honest, bro, because I don't know why I would be blocking you. We don't have any like content blockers. What's your thoughts on Giga? We went over it earlier. I think if meme coins have another run and Bitcoin goes back up soon, Giga is one of the ones that has a great shot at going up. Oh, is that your question? Yeah, no, I talked about it earlier. That's definitely a joke, the Gavin Newsom thing. You got to watch the full thing. He's just trolling Trump. He's not really going to launch a meme coin. He was kind of just trolling Trump's quote unquote failed meme coin launch. Do I like Mishi? I haven't looked at Mishi in a bit, man, to be completely real with you. See, generally Mishi has, still somewhat of a community around, and usually these coins do run, but it's just not Mishi, just not as clean of a setup for me at all. I just don't like when it came down 90%. It has consolidation, but again, if it's able to hold this, I could see something like this. But me personally, I think there's just coins from around this time, like the SPX Gigas Mogs, that are based more around a movement rather than just a singular meme, that I like a lot better. With that being said, you want to see Mishi hold this low here at 2 cents. But if I know the guys are the people that were involved with Mishi before, I definitely would not count it out. But yeah, that's what I would want to see. I want to see Mishi hold this low here and shift back to the upside, close above 7 cents. And if it's able to do that, then very high likelihood that it's back. Yeah, I'll look at Lofi real quick. Not gonna lie, Lofi actually looks pretty nice here. Simply, I think the biggest like 3 to 5 chains are gonna have meme coin, like the top meme coins on them. Generally, are just gonna run. That's just usually how it goes. Lofi being the biggest coin on Sui. From what I understand, they have a team, like a docs team behind it that does events, a lot of cool stuff that seems like they're sticking around. There's a nice corrective coil up here after this move up in April. I think there's a good shot that Lofi runs it back here. Really, what you want to be seeing is it close back above 7 cents here. And if it's able to do that, very good shot that it's back. I really like this impulsive candle here that it's starting. You want to see more of this. If it's able to break again above 5 cents and 7 cents, very good shot that it just continues to the upside. Anime coin. Yeah, I think anime could go on like a Pengu type run. I don't think it'll dominate or go as high necessarily, but I like anime here. I don't know why. Here, I'm going to look at it over here. So, yeah, anime is kind of correcting into this low. I could see it bottom out soon and head higher. Again, I think this is one setting up for a Pengu type run. And I'm really bullish on social currencies or coins attached to great NFT collections. So I would not be surprised to see something like that on anime setting up. But yeah, we're looking at 2 hours and 20 minutes here. Had some technical difficulties, so I stayed on a bit later. But if you guys are here for the first time or you kind of stepped on later, go ahead and watch back a little bit earlier. I went over Bitcoin and talked about how I think we're at the very end stages of, if we aren't already bottomed already, the very end stages of this kind of correction. I kind of think we're kind of right here. I like to compare this correction on Bitcoin to the June correction where it retested all-time high, made one more low, and then moved higher. Kind of what happened here. Retested all-time high, made one more low, and I think we move higher here. I think we're kind of right here where we were in June, where Bitcoin kind of just starting to ramp up. And this time, I think the memes and the alts, just like in 2024, are really going to see a massive run here. So really excited about the next few months. I think right now is the time to pay attention. Definitely not be selling your good bags and just be blessed that we're here. I think crypto's kind of, obviously not easy at times. There's a lot of distractions, a lot of shit that can go wrong as far as like uncertainty, quote unquote uncertainty. But we're really blessed to be here. And I think crypto is like really solidifying itself to where we're going to have stuff to trade for years to come. And I'm just really excited to be here. I remember crypto back in 2016 when I was trading crypto on Facebook, which is pretty nuts that it was just so niche, man. Not only did the general public make fun of you if you were trading, but it's just like there was so little opportunities. And just the fact that in just a few years' time, it went from this nerdy, like scammy niche thing to being like accepted by the entire world of TradFi and all these great things. Like we're fucking blessed to be here. So I know it's been annoying because the memes and a lot of the stuff that most of us are in haven't run. But again, just simply look back to what's happened, maybe not this year, but in 24, 23, 22, 21. What happens when Bitcoin, ETH, and the great coins come out of their corrections? The other stuff is driven to the upside. And every time people kind of panic and think this time's not going to be different, but every time it's what happens. Not everything goes up, but the great shit goes up. And I think same thing's going to happen here. Of course, the 90% corrections we've seen aren't fun, but it's nothing out of the ordinary we haven't seen in the past. Do I think Bitcoin will dump below 100? If it happens, I think it's going to be just brief. Yeah, I trade Forex from like I still dabble a little bit a few times a year, but yeah, no, I traded Forex from like 2016 to like 2020 pretty consistently. Hi, Bren. What's up, Jeremy? How you doing? Crypt market's about to send. Yeah, I think so too. Exciting times ahead. Do I have a bag of Popcat? Yeah, I have a bag of Popcat I've been holding for like a year or two. Again, I think for me, it's Popcat's up there. It's a great coin. I think it's going to go higher, but I just put the coins that are movement coins that have like a bigger movement behind it rather than around one picture or one meme. I kind of put those in a higher category, but I do like Popcat. Yeah, no, I think Doge is setting up nicely to go to $1. Doge ripped in the beginning, really the beginning of this year, but like in November of 2024, just for that month or two. Remember, I was telling you guys when the normies or the TikTok meta was kind of going off, the normies were starting to come back. We saw Doge rip 4x, and it was less than 2x off the all-time high. Now, again, what do you think is going to happen when instead of 3 months, just a quick 3 months of upside, where we eventually get 6 months to a year of upside in good conditions? What do you think Doge is going to do? Let me know in the comments what you think Doge does in that time. I think Doge probably doesn't go that low, but on this next run, not only is Doge going to rip, maybe month 1 or 2 it gets up here, but when it rips above that all-time high and we still have months of upside to go, I think not only does Doge break that all-time high at $1, but probably goes to multiple dollars pretty quickly as people from 2017, from people from 2020 and 2021 start to realize, oh, fuck, the Doge that I bought 4 or 5 years ago is in profit. So this crypto shit isn't a scam. What else am I going to buy? Like that's going to happen pretty strongly. And in that world, I think Doge is going to go nuts. You have people like Kaleo who think it's going to go to 500 billion to a trillion. Sounds crazy. But again, even if it does a fraction of that, I think it's going much, much higher. And especially if Elon somehow starts talking about it again, somehow implements it into crypto or to Twitter, or they get an ETF. There's just so many different things that could add to the Doge fire. It's been consolidating. Again, what did I say at the top of the screen? Consolidation is always the biggest sign of a top or bottom. It's been consolidating here for 6 months. I think all the signs are pointing to Doge moving a lot fucking higher over the next year. AI coins. Depends what you mean. Do you mean like AI agent coins, like the meme coins from last year? I think most of those are dead. You can make a case for GOAT. Maybe a case for some of them have stuck around and are actually building stuff. But, my eyes have not been really on there. I think the Zero Bros and stuff are obviously dead. A lot of them are dead. But, I mean, let me know. Is there a few of them that you still like? Because I haven't really been paying attention. Doge to 420, would not be surprised, honestly. With that being said, guys, I think I am going to call it here soon. Really, to just like, if I had to summarize this stream, it would be we are much closer to the fucking bottom than we are the top. And I think now more than ever is a time to not check out, pay attention, get your DCAs in, try to, again, if you have dry powder, I think, again, now is the time to get serious. And I think we're going to, I think enough people have been wiped out. Sentiment's low enough. Check out the last stream. I'm going to put out a clip about it, but I went over all of the bull case and exactly why every single indicator of the past tops, the 2017 top, 2020 top, 2021 top, all of those signals that kind of were flashing red at the top are nowhere near overheated. The Fear and Greed Index, the Coinbase thing I was talking about earlier, sentiment on crypto Twitter is complete opposite. So I think we have so much fucking higher to go. And I would just avoid getting distracted. There's going to be a lot of people that as we go up here there's going to be a lot of cope. a lot of people who sold on the way down here, who are all the way up here, are gonna try to convince you that we're gonna move lower. But the people who do the best are the people who are able to zoom out and see what happens every time Bitcoin corrects like this, and what happens to the memes and the alts after. And it's just really as simple as that. So, yep, I think we're on the brink of the next leg up. One of the most exciting times in crypto, and has the shot to be the most exciting time in crypto that we've ever seen due to the regulatory clarity, the pent up demand from normies from years back, the gambling that's happening in the culture, collecting, all that different stuff coming to one, which I think could form the most explosive bull run that we've probably seen it in years, if ever. So I'm just excited to be here. Blessed to be on these streams with you guys twice a week, Tuesdays, Fridays, 11 a.m. PST. And yeah, love you guys. Shout out to every single one of you guys that stayed on the stream from wherever you're at in the world. Sorry for the technical difficulties today. But we're just going to move forward. Love you guys. I'll see you on Friday, 11 a.m. PST. Make sure to follow. Shoot me a follow if you haven't already. Always appreciated. Like, comment, retweet the stream. Join the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel if you haven't already. And I love you guys. I'll see you on